At this moment, joined by Pablo Malizzia, journalist from Argentina. Thank you so much, Pablo, for joining us once again in teleSUR English. We are looking at a very significant moment as the St. Peter's Basilica is filled with people. We're awaiting to know the identity of the newly elected Pope. Pablo, what is your view on this? What is at stake here?
Well, I think that there are two important things we are about to to know. Not only the identity of the Pope, but also it is very important that we pay attention on the name that he picks, because we saw it with Pope Francis. It was really it was a real statement. Uh, the thing he made when he chose precisely that name uh, in memory of Saint Francis of Assisi. Okay, so I think both details are going to be very important. Number one, if the most progressive wing of the church is going to keep control of the Catholic Church, or if the more conservative part of the church, Opus Dei and others, are going to beat in this political struggle to name the next leader of the Catholic faith. Mm, we remember that during the funerals, a number of presidents from around the world went to the last the last goodbye to Pope Francis, and a lot of them were not precisely the ones that loved him the best during his time. We saw not just Donald Trump and Meloni and the all the right-wing presidents of the Western uh, countries attended to that funeral, and it was not just by chance. It was not all even because they loved him. They went there because they wanted to put extra pressure to the cardinals in this votation in order to pull the election to the right part of the people of the candidates, let's say. So we are in this is a very um, uh, important moment in history. We will see if the church is going to continue the legacy that Pope Francis started with all his reformations, all the changes, the openness that he gave to the Catholic Church. If this is going to be deeper, and as you were saying before, very cleverly, if the church is going to stay side by side with the poor people of the world, if the church is going to be the voice of the excluded, of migrants, or if the church from now on is going to be once again let's say the way that um, the main powers of the planet will keep easy and calm to all though that army of starving people around the planet in order to prevent revolution, let's say, to put it short. So these are we are in a point of history in which this is going to be very important for the future of the Catholic Church itself, because we have seen especially in Latin America, we have seen the growth that other churches had, Protestant churches and evangelistic churches that have grown mathematically, increased their power or their number of followers in Latin America. And at the same time, the Catholic Church lost a lot of their people.
There's a
So if church turns to the right with the new pope.
and you were saying this marks not only the identity of the Pope, but what role will the Church take? And we have a U.S. Pope. What do you think of this?
Yes, I think that this choice was in a way mm, the one that was easier to take for them because this cardinal from the United States, even if he was, let's say, one of the cardinals that Pope Francis has named to that rank, he was not pointed as one of the most progressists among the possibilities, and he's not the otherwise or the other side either. I mean, he's not conservative. He's not very in the papers. He's not so let's say so left-winged as Pope Francis used to be. He's more in the middle, but at the same time, it is very interesting because he's an Augustinian. The congregation he is from is also very important, and that tell us that he's a priest that went on missionary missions, if I may say. He has been all his life to get side by side with the poor people, the excluded people. I think that in that way he will honor the Pope Francis legacy. He has a lot of bondings with Latin America as well. His presence in Peru for such a long time. He even met Pope Francis here in Buenos Aires when Jorge Bergoglio was the cardinal of the city. So they have met before before Bergoglio was named Pope. So I think that this is a, let's say it's a let's say Solomonic decision. They picked a person from the United States, but at the same time with deep roots in Latin America, with a past that is closer to Francis' teachings and legacy. And I think that now what we have to see is, well, how the things develops as he starts his his func his well, his realm, his I don't know how to say it.
Right, his leadership at church.
Work,
Right,
his work.
Pablo. It's
So
so interesting what you were mentioning. This thing of thinking about the duality of being from the United States but with close ties with Latin America. We were also mentioning before, for example, that he made a gesture by speaking in Spanish to his Peruvian congregation at that initial speech. We've spoken so much about the legacy and the importance of Pope Francis being from Latin America that definitely that was a calculated gesture of like symbolizing something. What I was thinking is, what can we expect from a pope that comes from the United States in terms of a head of state? He will have to hold bilateral meetings with Trump. We were saying the last meeting of Pope Francis was with J.D. Vance about migration, and he was very harsh on these topics. What do you think this means? Can a U.S. cardinal take such strong positions?
I think that, of course, we cannot predict the future,
Of
but
course.
I think that a pope from the United States can be let's say, the best dream that Trump could have had, or perhaps his worst nightmare. Pay attention. because the coin has two sides. Because if Pope Leo continues with Pope Francis' legacy and tries to and continues raising the voice for the migrants, for the excluded, etc. Well, being American, being from the United States, perhaps it will be more than a stone in the shoe for President Trump, because if it's good for one thing, it can be, let's say, a more powerful message if it turns out to be like Pope Francis. So, being a U.S. citizen and Peruvian citizen as well, because he got his Peruvian citizenship as well. Well, I think that we might be in front of, let's say, a clever decision by the Vatican, because he has all the tools ready in the table. Pope Francis left everything prepared for the next pope to have all the options opened, and now what we have to see is what is the path that the new pope is going to take. The path is open for him to choose. Now it depends on his political decisions, and it also depends on the. No, let's not forget that the Vatican itself is going through economical crisis as well, and the U.S. Church is one of the wealthiest in the planet and one of the ones that sends the higher amount of donatives to the Vatican as well. So their money is always involved in politics, and this is also politics. So we can wait. Perhaps we will see a pope trying to keep everybody happy at the first time. But if I pay attention to his own story and what I mentioned before, the fact that he's Augustinian, the congregation that he belongs to is a missionary congregation. They have been in all Latin America, most especially in Mexico and Peru, let's say the Pacific part of Latin America, but always close to the poor people and the excluded. So I think that, of course, a good bet of hope, let's say, if that is allowed in this subject, we can have a little hope that things may continue with the path that Francis shown during his time.
Excellent, Pablo. Really interesting to think. What a complex decision and what a complex moment. And of course, we will have hours and days to continue to analyze this election of a new pope. So thank you so much for joining us here in teleSUR English.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure to have Pablo Malizzia, Argentinian journalist, covering this breaking news of the new election. Pope Leo XIV is the new pope, new leader of the Catholic Church. We will continue bringing you all the information and all the analysis of what this means. Stay tuned with teleSUR English.